www.vonradio.com or 860 on your AM dial. We look forward to a good discussion this evening. At the top of the show, I just wanted to indicate by way of report that I was recently abroad, accompanied the Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Timothy Harris, who's now chairman of CARICOM, and that we went to Uruguay, Montevideo in Uruguay, in an effort that CARICOM, together with Mexico and Uruguay, are seeking to mount in order to offer a solution to the ongoing crisis in Venezuela. I think that our people should be interested in what is happening there. It is a very serious matter. Venezuela is right on our doorsteps. We are already seeing people fleeing Venezuela and coming to the Caribbean region. Trinidad and Tobago, a prominent member of CARICOM, is only a few miles away from Venezuela. So there's a very real concern here, and we are very, very concerned about the prospect of civil war or violence in that country. Venezuela has been a good friend, a long-standing friend to the Caribbean and to St. Kitts and Nevis in particular. The country has benefited from Petrocaribe and other arrangements. And I think that the people of the country can well remember the $16 million made available by Venezuela for payment to sugar workers and bringing relief to them who had not benefited. They have also done several projects on St. Kitts, and so the country has really seen some benefit from them. The relationship has been good. The country has fallen on difficult circumstances, and there's an ongoing debate as to the best approach and how it is that that country ought to resolve its differences. Of course, we have superpowers like the United States and Canada and some in the EU who have signed on in recognizing a chap called Juan Guaido as the president of Venezuela. And there are others on the other side, China, Taiwan, not Taiwan, forgive me, China, Russia, and Turkey and Iran, who are indicating, along with some others, that they recognize Maduro. So it is setting up a perfect storm, and we have heard some perhaps unnecessary and certainly unwelcomed language from people like the Secretary General of the OAS, Senor Almagro, and others, including the President of the United States, suggesting that a military option would not be ruled out. I think that all right-thinking people should condemn that type of approach. And so we went as CARICOM, led by the Prime Minister, to try and negotiate a mechanism, and we came up with something called the Montevideo mechanism, which calls for dialogue on all sides, which asks for both contenders to the presidency, Juan Guaido and Maduro, to come to the table and to see how, through dialogue and discussion, a solution can be fashioned. We realize that the Lima Group, a group consisting of Canada and some other countries in Latin America, that they have made an announcement coming out of a meeting that they had at the same time in Ottawa. Interestingly, Canada made a separate announcement of its own called the Ottawa Declaration. So you had a Lima Declaration, you had the Ottawa Declaration, and the Lima Group, interestingly enough, St. Lucia and Guyana are members of that group, but they did not sign on to the Lima Declaration coming out of Ottawa, nor did Mexico. And so it appears that the opportunity for peaceful resolution may have got some fillip, because even the Lima Declaration and the Ottawa Declaration coming out of Canada, they talked about fresh elections, but they couched it very carefully to say that they did not want any kind of military solution. And I think that is what we are all saying, that we want a peaceful resolution of the situation. Bolivia has now signed on to the Montevideo mechanism, so that means that the 14 members of CARICOM, plus Mexico, Uruguay, and Bolivia, meaning 17 countries in the Americas, are in favor of that particular mechanism. Will it work? We don't know, but of course we can do nothing more in life but to give a best effort. And I'm very proud, I've said so publicly before, I want to say it again, of the leadership that has been provided by Prime Minister Harris as chairman of CARICOM. I think he's done an excellent job. The chairmanship rotates, and he happens to be in the hot seat at this point in time, and he has done an excellent job. We returned, regrettably I returned with a cold, but I'm certainly here this evening because I thought it was necessary that I am here, and that we can certainly continue this debate that we've been having, you and I, on the show over the past decade or more. A number of things have happened since I was last with you. I did report in my last press conference on some matters, and I will go a bit into detail. I want, however, to set some perspective I've gathered that there's been a lot of chatter on the island, a lot of chatter about my government, the government that I'm privileged and honored to lead, the government that the people of Nevis entrusted me with just over a year ago. And I believe that we have spent the first year of our term, 5-year term, focused on a good governance agenda. We have been the first government to seek to bring into functionality, to operationalize integrity in public life. We have appointed the Integrity Commission. We have secured office premises for the Integrity Commission. We are now dealing with the staffing and the furniture, and that will be inaugurated very shortly. We're the first government that has brought and successfully brought into being freedom of information, and we hope to operationalize that shortly as well. We have funded and made available to the opposition an office, the first time in history. I have inaugurated regular meetings of the Nevis Island Assembly. We have committed to meeting at least once every 2 months and more often if necessary. Indeed, we were there as recently as Christmas Eve, dealing with urgent and pressing matters. I have, in addition to that, inaugurated a monthly press conference which has never hitherto existed on the island of Nevis. I come here every time that I'm available, when I have the strength and the availability, and I'm here, I would guess 80 to 90% of the times on the mark every Wednesday for 2 hours of commercial-free talk radio. I'm not just doing this now. I've done this for a long time. I say all that to say that those who know me, those who have taken the time to listen, those who have taken the time to get to know a bit about how I operate, understand that I take my role as a Premier of Nevis, I take my role as a servant of the people of Nevis very seriously. I do not disrespect people. My view is that our people who entrust us with these positions deserve to know what is going on. And I have made myself and will continue to make myself available. All of those points of contact that I spoke about, whether you in the relative comfort and anonymity of your home, picking up the phone to call on this show and ask questions, whether you having questions asked at a press conference, or whether the myriad of people, hundreds if not thousands, who constantly send me WhatsApp messages and Facebook messages and messages on other social media platforms asking questions and seeking to get information. I am not a person, nor will I lead any government which is opaque and which seeks to hide things from the people of Nevis. At the same time, the people of Nevis have elected my government. They had a choice. In 2017, December, they had a choice. And they overwhelmingly elected a CCM government under my leadership. That mandate tells me that they wanted leadership that they could trust, leadership that they felt comfortable with, and leadership which would lead. And that is what people elect people to do, to lead. Not in an arrogant way, not in a way that is dismissive, but a way that recognizes that whilst we serve our people and we serve the people of Nevis, we are also called upon to make decisions. Sometimes those decisions will be unpopular. Sometimes they'll be difficult decisions. I am always comforted in the face of criticism that Jesus Christ, the man that we pray to, the man through whom we pray to Jehovah God, that he came and was here on earth, a perfect man, an unblemished man, God's own son, indeed God's only begotten son. And he was here, and the things that he did not satisfy everyone either. In fact, so dissatisfied was some with him that they decided to crucify him. And he died on that cross for all of us. I say that to say this, that none of us is perfect. All of us will be subject to criticism. But once one is in a leadership position, one must lead. That is why you elect us to lead. And if there are times that decisions are unpopular, they may be unpopular now, they may turn out to be quite popular later. But if at times they are unpopular, there is of course a mechanism provided for the public to show their displeasure with those decisions. And that mechanism, we go to the polls, and people vote in and they vote out as they see fit. That is the beauty of our system of democracy. The beauty of this thing that we call democracy, that is so pure and so wonderful, and that we, all of us, have said we will protect. I am prepared, ladies and gentlemen, to say and to continue to say that I remain committed to the ideals of openness and transparency, that I am not going to do anything in the dark or seek to make any deal. I have said time and time again that I am not like some who came to politics seeking to get a hand up from politics. I'm not like some who came to politics seeking to see how much property they could acquire for themselves and their family. No, whatever I had before I ever entered politics. And I'm proud to say that. I'm proud to say it because I believe that it is demonstrative that my efforts in the context of the politics is not for me, but to seek to do the little I can to help others. And when I'm done, or the electorate is done with me, then I will move on to other things. Well, so long as I'm here and I'm in this chair, I want to pledge and continue to pledge that my government will be open and transparent. My government will be fair. My government will not shirk from its responsibility to bring information to you, the people of Nevis. I say that because I think the background is important. Now, last week, during my absence, in a prearranged signing ceremony, the Nevis Island administration entered into an agreement. And that agreement was as between the Nevis Island administration, NASPA, which is the Nevis ANC Ports Authority, and a company called B&L Worldwide Limited as the concessionaire. Now, the agreement has spurred a lot of chatter. A lot of it, in my view, is uninformed chatter. I do not say so to be disrespectful, but I say uninformed because we have not yet had an opportunity in a forum such as this or some other forum to outline the details and to bring to the public the details of what it is we have and are seeking to do. In my last press conference, I indicated that we were in a process of negotiation, and that process came to an end, and the parties decided that last week was an opportune time to sign this agreement. I was not present on the island, but I need not be present. Let me make that clear. I was not present, but I need not be present. The cabinet had taken a decision, and there's no one person who's bigger than the cabinet of the Nevis Island administration. And the Honorable Alexis Jeffers, as acting premier, had every authority. Whenever I travel, he or someone else is given an instrument under the hand of Her Honor, the Deputy Governor General, setting out that they are in the position and have all the rights and powers and privileges that I would have as a Premier of Nevis. And so the Honorable Alexis Jeffers was eminently within his right to proceed with this signing, that date having been set as an opportune time for the parties to sign this agreement. I was aware, I was kept informed, and I agreed 100% because these are matters that had been ventilated time and time again in the cabinet as we sought to come to an agreeable position. So I want to make that pellucid, that there was nothing done behind my back or nothing done that I was unaware of. The agreement was signed, my understanding, by my permanent secretary in the ministry, the Premier's ministry, the Honorable, I'm sorry, not the Honorable yet, who knows, P.S. Wakely Daniel. It was signed by the manager of the ANC Ports Authority, Mr. Oral Brandy, and it was signed on behalf of B&L Worldwide by their counsel, John L. Powell, a lawyer in good standing in St. Kitts. Now, what is the agreement about? And again, perhaps some background for those at home and those abroad. Because just tonight, as I sat here, a very, very dear friend of mine abroad sent me a message saying that he heard that we had sold the airport. I want to say to the people of Nevis that Mark Brantley, whether as Premier or as any other form, would not imagine a position where we would sell the airport, the lone airport in Nevis. Those who are without any knowledge of what has been agreed to, going around and making these preposterous statements need to stop. I do not mind if we have a debate, but the debate must be based on facts. Not for people jumping around, acting as if Christmas has come early, and jumping and saying all manner of things without having one iota of information. Now, has anybody picked up a phone? Any member of the opposition called my office and said, listen, Mr. Brantley, we are hearing this, what is the position? No. To the contrary. They rushed to the airwaves and are seeking to make mischief. Perhaps they forget that I'm here every Wednesday. Perhaps they forget that I have an opportunity to speak to the press at my press conference. Perhaps they forget that I am not shy, and I've never been shy, about coming to the Division people and letting them know what is going on. If there's one hallmark of my leadership style, it is that information and sharing information with the public has been that hallmark. And so, there has been no sale of the airport. Let me put that to rest immediately. What we have done, we have entered into an agreement with B&L Worldwide Limited, the concessionaire, to grant a concession at the airport. The project contemplates that B&L Worldwide will be responsible for the design, construction, financing, operation, and maintenance of a new passenger terminal facility that will attract additional passengers to the Vance Amory International Airport, thereby, we hope, providing increased opportunities to NASPA to generate additional revenues by introducing new arrivals and ultimately developing a new runway. So let me just break that down. We have signed an agreement with a company that company will be responsible for designing, constructing, financing, operating, and maintaining a new passenger terminal facility that we hope will attract additional passengers, additional traffic, and therefore additional economic activity. And ultimately, they will have to develop a new runway. One, the requirements for that is that certain areas of the facility that is currently existing at Vance Amory has been leased for a period of 35 years. That is the anticipation. But we have not just granted a lease. We have insisted that there be safeguards and performance guarantees in that document, concession document. So, for example, they must, within 6 months, demonstrate that they have the full financing in place. We understand that this was a condition for them now to go and have their backers engage with the financing of the project. We have given them a 6-month window in order to do that. If that is not done, then we have reserved the right to terminate at that point in time. The entire financing for the project is for the concessionaire, B&L Worldwide, to find. The design, the construction, the operation, the maintenance of the new passenger terminal facility is for them to do. They're proposing something to have gates for passengers departing to the United States, furnished with the minimum requirements for which passengers may clear United States Customs and Immigration, the pre-clearance facilities. That is what we're seeking to achieve, that they will seek to develop a facility that people will be pre-cleared, as one would do, for example, when leaving Canada to go to the United States. This pre-clearance facility, we are hopeful, of course, will be granted by the United States government, but that is the approach that is being taken. The concessionaire has committed to commence construction of the new airport facilities no later than the 2nd anniversary of the date of the agreement. So, we have built in some safeguards. 1, financing has to be in place within 6 months. No financing, the deal is off. 2, construction has to commence within the 2nd anniversary, within 2 years of the effective date. The agreement provides that the concessionaire would have, in all its design and discussion, produce the EIA, engage in the public consultations as we insist on as a government. All of this will have to be done. The term, as I've indicated, is 35 years, subject, of course, to those performance requirements. The proposed new airport facilities, the document, the agreement contemplates that the concessionaire shall design and construct thereafter maintain and operate all phases of the project to international standards so as to attain a Category 1 rating by the U.S. Department of Transportation, Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, under the International Aviation Safety Assessment Program, and shall from time to time provide the administration with all the plans, designs, consult with us, consult with NASPA, and also consult with you, the members of the public. I say that to say that there is absolutely no consideration here of the airport being sold or control of the current existing facility being ceded to anyone. What we're talking about is the development of new facilities that are going to be done by BNL Worldwide, and for which we have agreed to lease portions of what we currently have to allow that development to occur, subject, as I've said, to the safeguards. All expenses for the development that is proposed will be for BNL Worldwide. At the end of the 35-year period, assuming that they've been able to execute to the satisfaction of the government and NASPA, and in accordance with the terms of the agreement, the property reverts to the NIA and to NASPA and to the people of Nevis. So, all the improvements, the new facilities, the new terminal facility, the new runway that is anticipated will revert to the ownership of the people of Nevis. So I want to make it abundantly clear that this is not some fool government. This is not some government that is out there and is seeking to do nonsense on behalf of the people of Nevis. I have lived a life, God has blessed me so far that I've actually reached the age of 50. I'm very grateful for that. And I have not lived a frivolous life. I have sought to do things always in a proper way. As a lawyer, I practice to the highest standards. And as a politician, I've conducted myself in the same way. And more so now, as the Premier of Nevis and the leader of this island, I assure the members of the public that you can have confidence in me, because who I have been is who I am and who I will be. I'm not tainted by the fact that I now sit in the big chair on the island of Nevis. No. To my mind, that is an honor and a privilege, and it is actually a humbling experience. And it tells me that every time I must be willing to come to you, the members of the public, and let you know what is going on and what it is we're seeking to do. Now, there's some of you out there might ask, why are you even bothering talking about bringing in a company to do anything at Vance Amri International Airport? Truth be told, this government, under the Honorable Vance Amri, when he was there for 5 years, and since him, under my leadership for the past year, we have been seeking to find a viable solution for the issues that we are experiencing at the Vance Amri International Airport. It is no secret, ladies and gentlemen, that the traffic over there has dropped precipitously. That is no secret. In fact, members of the very opposition who now go around and are seeking to cast all kinds of aspersions and suggest all kinds of untoward dealing because of this agreement that we've announced, are the very ones who take to social media on a daily basis, laughing and mocking and saying the airport is dead. Some have gone so far to say it's dead because Vance Amri's name is on it. Some have gone so far to say take off Vance Amri's name and the airport will somehow spring to life. We have all heard the nonsense, and we ought not to pretend. The NRP did absolutely nothing from they took office in 2006 until they demitted office in 2013. For 5 years and 18 null and void months, they did nothing to develop any traffic at the Vance Amri International Airport. We have grappled with it. When I became the Minister of Tourism in 2013, I met one plane, and I want the people at home and abroad to listen to me carefully. We met one plane, one airline called Cape Air with a 7-seater which traveled to Puerto Rico. One. It went in the morning, it came in the evening. So if it went full and it came back full, 14 passengers was all that it could accommodate on a daily basis. We felt that that was not sufficient. We partnered with Four Seasons, we partnered with the other hotels, and we went after a company called Seabourn. Seabourn agreed to come, and Seabourn came with an aircraft, a Saab I think it's called, which can transport, I think, 34, 35 passengers each way. So we went from 7 to 35. I did that, we did that, the CCM government did that. We then were approached by a company called Tradewind Aviation. They fly, they say, a first-class service, 8-seater, champagne and all of that. And we partnered with them as well, and they too came to fly to Puerto Rico and also provide flights to St. Bart's and places such as those. Now hear me carefully. When I came, we had Cape Air going to Puerto Rico with 7 seats. That's it. That's it that we had leaving for Puerto Rico. We added Seabourn, 35 seats. We added Tradewind with 8 seats. We didn't stop there. Air Sunshine is now based on Nevis. We worked and continue to work with them. They have relocated to Nevis, and every morning they leave Nevis and take you to Tortola, to St. Thomas, and places such as those. So we have added flights, we've added carriers. We still have Winair that goes to St. Martin. And we still have others that come, Trans-Anguilla, etc., that do a business sometimes to Antigua and to Anguilla. People who are at the airport and who might work there and who are listening can call in when I open the lines. I am not here to tell any lies. I inherited, and the CCM inherited, a dead airport. That's what we inherited. 1 plane, 7 seats going to Puerto Rico. We add Seabourn, we add Tradewind, we add Air Sunshine. And yet the same people who presided over the airport having 1 7-seater to Puerto Rico are saying that we are not doing anything. Let's face it, ladies and gentlemen. What has happened is that the appetite of our people has changed. And many of our people, for whatever reason, are saying that it is easier and more comfortable for them to take a boat to St. Kitts, take a taxi to the airport, and take a plane from St. Kitts, which has the bigger infrastructure, the better infrastructure, direct to Miami, or direct to New York, or North Carolina, or wherever the case may be. That is the reality. I have time and time again spoken about my own experience, traveling on Seabourn from Puerto Rico to Nevis, and counting feverishly because we have what is called a minimum revenue guarantee, where any time the plane at the time carried less than 10 people, the government had to pay. It is not unusual. Even in St. Kitts, they have MRGs for American Airlines and the big airlines. But that is the reality that we faced. And I recall being on the plane, coming from Puerto Rico, landing in St. Kitts in order to come to Nevis, and counting the people that I knew were going to Nevis. And I counted 14. And I said, to God be the glory. On this flight, the taxpayers of Nevis will not have to pay anything. And having counted 14, the plane landed in St. Kitts to let off passengers and then on to Nevis. I see a family of 5 or 6, can't remember how many, got up. A family I know well from Nevis, and started to pack up the bags. I tell them, listen, the plane going to Nevis, and they say, we know, but we're getting off down here. So that family of 5 or 6 now, Seabourn will count them as Kittitian passengers, when in reality, they're going to Nevis. I've had a similar experience where one morning I went down to the Four Seasons, had a breakfast meeting. They had a major checkout. In fact, the 2 Seabourn pilots left the Four Seasons where they spent the night and went over to Newcastle. I then got a call to say they left Newcastle, Van Sammer International Airport at Newcastle, empty. Not a soul on the plane. They went to St. Kitts. You know who they pick up in St. Kitts? All the guests who slept with them at Four Seasons the same night. The same hotel as them at Four Seasons. Because Four Seasons ferried their guests on their boat to St. Kitts, got the buses, picked them up at Reggae Beach or wherever, took them to the airport, and they got on the same Seabourn plane that left Nevis empty. Those are Nevis guests. And so had the airport been functioning and had it continued to be attractive to people who are traveling, we would not have had this need to have any conversation with people like BNL Worldwide or anybody else, because the airport would have been functioning. we are now trying to do what we can. We've just commissioned an ad campaign where we're saying to fly local. We want more people to look at the Vance Amory International Airport. And for me, it's a matter of pride, Nivision pride. Use the airport, it is there. And as I said, you now have flights that are available. You no longer have just the 1 7-seater. You now have Seabourn, you have Tradewind, you have Air Sunshine, and others. Use the flight and take advantage of some of the fares that you can get. Because as I use as a prime example, I have said that my wife had occasion to travel to Florida, and she took the flight from here to Puerto Rico and picked up, I can't even remember, $129 or something like that from Puerto Rico to the mainland. There are opportunities, but our people seem to have become enamored with the idea that to go to St. Kitts is the approach. And that has led to a drop in traffic at the Vance Amory International Airport. In addition to that, we have seen an explosion of the water taxi business. I mean, these are the facts. Where we used to have 1 or 2 providers for water taxi, we now have several. And more keep applying. To the point where, to facilitate them, this government has sought to put in a water taxi facility over at Ouali. That is the reality. And who are those water taxi people transporting? They're transporting people, guests to Nevis, tourists, and Nivisions, who would otherwise have perhaps flown out of the Vance Amory International Airport. And as we've seen, and the technocrats have said to me, the water taxi business boom, the Vance Amory International has dropped. So we're seeing, of course, a boom, which I welcome. All the participants in the water taxi business that I know of are Nivision, and so I welcome that. But at the same time, there has been a precipitous drop. So there's a corresponding boom and drop. Those are the facts, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm not here to hide anything or seek to pretend otherwise. We have tried, and we continue to try. As I said, we will shortly launch a Fly Local campaign where we try to encourage people to use the facility and use the airport, because the airport is there, it's available, and we really want people to use it. But the suggestion out there by some that somehow this government has caused the collapse of the airport, this government has mismanaged or not managed matters in such a way as to create difficulties over there, is not supported by the facts. So let me give you some facts. I brought some statistics with me which I think are important. In the year 2006, now why is that year important? That year is relevant because that was the year that the NRP took the reins of government in Nevis. 2006. Think back, if you will. Cast your minds back with me. That in 2006, June, if I recall, the NRP became the Nevis Island Administration. In 2006, the Vance Amory International Airport, and I'm putting arrivals and departures together because that is the activity. In that year, we had 79,324 passengers. Listen to me carefully. In 2006, 79,324 passengers passed through the Vance Amory Airport. 39,998 arrived and 39,326 departed. By any measure, that's significant traffic in 2006. The NRP left office in 2013. And by 2013, ladies and gentlemen, the traffic had gone from 79,324 passengers per year, where they met it in 2006, to 19,908 in 2013. Let me say that again, because I want people to digest it. When the NRP took office in 2006, the Vance Amory International Airport had a throughput of 79,324 passengers per year. When the NRP left office in 2013, the same airport had a throughput of 19,908 passengers, a drop of 74.9% in terms of the traffic at the Vance Amory Airport. That is what I met and we met when we got into office. When we got there, Vance Amory said to me as Minister of Tourism, try and do your best. That is what we met. And we went out and we did try. Seaborn is there because of our efforts. Tradewind is there because of our efforts. Air Sunshine is there because of our continued partnership. We did try, ladies and gentlemen. And through those efforts, stats are here, we were able to take the throughput at the Vance Samri from 19,908, where we met it in 2013, to a high of 22,333 by 2016. That is where we were able to take it by 2016. But as the water taxi business increased, and as the appetite that our people developed for the bigger jets also increased, and the frequency and the ease to get to St. increased, we saw again the trend started downwards. And so by 2018, we were down to 14,839 passengers passing through the Vance Samri Airport. No airport, ladies and gentlemen, can survive with 14,839 passengers for a year. The cost of maintaining the airport, as the old people say, the dance cannot pay for the lights. It cannot. And so we as a government had some hard decisions to make. You see, when all the sound and fury is over, you still come back to governance, decision making, what it is you elect people to do. We have some hard decisions to make. Do we continue with the decline that we're seeing? Remember what I told you? I kind of segmented it so that you could see the NRP phase and see the dramatic decline, and then see the years now that the CCM has been in there. But ignore NRP and CCM. At the end of the day, this is our airport. Our airport, the Vance Samri International Airport, has gone from a high of 79,324 passengers in the year 2006 to a low of 14,839 passengers in the year 2018. Precipitous. We've lost 85% of the business that we used to have over there. We've lost it. And the question now, how do you get it back? We can appeal to our people, as I often do and try to do. We can say to our people to demonstrate your commitment to the island and use that airport. But at the end of the day, as a government, we also need to look forward and determine, how do we breathe some life? How do we breathe some life into the Vance Samri International Airport? Since under the time of the Honorable Vance Samri as Premier, and continuing now under my leadership, Alexis Jeffers, now Deputy Premier, has been very involved. Remember, we contracted a company called Perez International, who built the Argyle International Airport in St. Vincent, to have a look. And they came up with some designs. But when we saw the cost, ladies and gentlemen, it was beyond our capacity. I believe one number I saw was something like $90 million. It was beyond our capacity. As a small island with a small tax base, we couldn't manage that cost. And so we had to put that aside and recognize that our ambitions were a little bigger than our pocket. And so we started to scout around. What other options could there be? And all around the world, there are examples of private-public partnerships. Examples of the private entity partnering with the government or public entity to create a solution to a problem. That is all that has happened here. So I am not quite understanding all this cataflam, all this noise and sound and fury. We have a problem. We have diagnosed the problem, and we're seeking now to deal with the problem, not to hide it and pretend, but to deal with it. And I am encouraging the people of Nevis and the hoteliers who might be listening, and those of you who have family and friends, to use the airport. It makes little sense for us to continue to pay. We are still paying for that airport facility, and we're not using it. We're refusing in many instances to use it when we can. So I'm encouraging our people to do so, and this is an effort by the government to seek to move this forward. I have a sobering statistic that when I saw it today, I was standing when I read the document and I had to sit down abruptly. I got some details from NASPA. And between the year 2006 and 2018, 2006 and 2018, guess how much money we have lost at the Van Summer International Airport? Guess how much money we have lost operating that airport? Between 2006 and 2018, we have lost $20,749,237. That's NASPA's loss. That doesn't even take into account the minimum revenue guarantees that we have been paying out. When people don't use the airport, in order to keep Seaborne and them coming here, we pay an MRG. And that has been heavy. There are times I see checks going for 35,000 US and those kinds of numbers. But NASPA, you could imagine how profitable NASPA would have been if it didn't have to carry this burden. $20,749,237. It lost money on the NRP. It has lost money on the CCM. The airport has been a losing proposition for many years. And so as I look at the numbers from NASPA. There is not 1 year from 2006 to 2018 that the airport has turned a profit. Not one single year. Every single year there's been a loss. So what are we to do? And I'm going to open the phones shortly because I want the people of Nevis to say, is it poor leadership or good leadership to seek to find solutions to very real problems? Forget all this stupid chatter about selling airport and things, because I don't think that even them who are saying it really believe it. What are we to do? Forget all this nonsense about John giving airport to John L. Powell. John L. Powell is a lawyer. And if some of the so-called lawyers who are talking were any good, they might have been the lawyers for the company. But nobody going to them because they don't have any confidence in their legal skills and abilities. That's the reality. So they go to John L. because John L. is a good lawyer. And John L. has stepped forward to represent them, BNL Worldwide. We have not signed any agreement with John L. Powell. We have signed an agreement with a company that is represented by their lawyer, John L. Powell. And he explained, I believe he was on air recently explaining that it's an interim arrangement. These are not new things. I hear people saying, oh, we can't find BNL on the internet. Well, it's rather stupid if you look for them on the internet. Because anybody with a modicum of intelligence who understands business understands that when these transactions are done, you form a special purpose vehicle, a special purpose company to do that. There's a company right now called Nevis Peak LLC. How many people in Nevis know? Who's Nevis Peak LLC? Well, what if I were to tell you that that's the company that owns Four Seasons? You would believe me? The buyers of Four Seasons formed a special vehicle, call it Nevis Peak LLC, to buy the Four Seasons. So if you go look for a pedigree and a track record on Nevis Peak LLC, you wouldn't see anything. Special purpose vehicle, that's how people do business. So it is, you know, I'm trying to clear up some of the fog. I'm trying to remind people that I am never one to shy away. I'm always one to come forward and be forthright with the people of Nevis. Always. When I can't any longer do that, I go off into the sunset. And that is why I have made myself available. When I became Premier of Nevis, many people said to me, well, you have to stop on the market now. That is going to expose you. I said, expose me to what? The only thing I can be exposed to is the people asking me a question. That's all. And it is their right to ask me a question. So what is it I have to fear? And I've been here, God willing, anytime I'm able physically and on island, to speak to you and to allow you to speak to me. Because I believe that this is important. I believe in dialogue and openness and transparency. I have always had it as my calling card. And I want the people of Nevis to understand that and appreciate that I am not in any deal making. I'm not in any under-the-table business. They have tried now for a lifetime since I entered politics to tarnish me. You all remember how they used to say I can't go to America because FBI looking for me? You all remember that? You mustn't forget, you know. You mustn't forget, because 1 year when I showed up on Eastern Parkway, I can't dance, but I tried to go in the band. And I see the Nevis crowd and one of them hand fly to them out. Like they see a jumbie. Like they see a jumbie. And I had to say, hey, what's happening? Say, oh, I thought you couldn't come to America. I say, well, must be a ghost. You know, NRP people like to see ghosts. I said, must be a ghost. Because here I am. They have sought every which way. They have attacked my wife. They have attacked me every which way. My wife went on a trip with me recently. They're all over the internet. Say, who pay for her shopping? With their forwardness. Who pay for her shopping? That is what the NRP is best at. Engaging in tomfoolery. But we are serious people. And I always tell you that serious times demand serious attention from serious people. The numbers I read out to you tonight are not fiction. This is the reality of the Vance Armour International Airport. And we must seek to confront that reality. And the people must decide, do we shut it down and let everybody bang water and go sink it to take the plane? Or do we try to improve it and make it better? Because what we have there now is clearly not working in the best interest of the people of Nevis. And the people of Nevis themselves are contributing by choosing, through their preference, to fly out of St. Kitts. Now, what is wrong with that? Tell me. That is what you elected me for. To find solutions and to try and solve problems. And if the solution that we have sought with BNL Worldwide doesn't work, because we have no guarantee that it will, we have built in to the agreement the necessary mechanisms to get out of it. That's what we have done. We have built in the mechanisms to say, you have to perform, and these are the time limits on your performance. And if you don't, we can exit. So tonight I'm saying that this is a good faith effort by the government that you have elected, the government in which you have invested to seek to remedy a serious problem that we have at the Vance Armour International Airport. And I am happy that we've been able to come to this arrangement, which augurs well and promises much for the people of Nevis. Time will tell whether that arrangement works as we anticipate that it will. But you cannot fault us for seeking to find a solution to a problem. We could have been like the NRP and ignored the problem, pretend it doesn't exist. Go and bang our mouth on radio and say, oh, Vance Armour name on it, and once Vance Armour name is on it, nobody gonna use it. We could have done all that. But we are serious people involved in trying to find solutions to serious problems. And so I hope I've made that pellucid. I want to say one last thing. It's 10 minutes to the hour of 9. I've had some questions being asked of the hurricane relief program and the program to seek to provide some assistance to people who have suffered. I would want to alert the public that the federal government last year, December, would have released some funds to the Nevis Island Administration from the proceeds of the Citizenship by Investment Program. And those funds were designed to cover the damage that was reported by the Nevis Disaster Management to NEMA. We are cognizant that some people have availed themselves of other avenues to fix their premises, whether through insurance, through the duty-free and other concessions that the government offered. But there are some who are indigent and who have been unable, even now, to fix the damage caused by the hurricane. I have asked Minister Evelyn and the good people there at Social Development to check the list of those who had reported damage after the storm, to confirm if there were any of those, and we already have an indication that we have over a dozen, and therefore we hope very shortly to be able to provide the relief to those people. I apologize sincerely that it has taken this long, but certainly it was a process that we were engaged in. And so I want to make that abundantly clear that we have received some resources for that purpose and that we have embarked already on the process. Those of you who have been affected, who reported your damage and have not yet been made whole, will be contacted and the government will partner with you. We are a government that has always put our people first. We have not always had the money to do it immediately, but you can be assured that once we have the resources, we will put you first. Ladies and gentlemen, this is On the Mark. It is 10 minutes to the hour of 9 o'clock, and we're here to answer your questions, to debate with you. We ask only that you be respectful, and even if we disagree, that we not be disagreeable. The phones are open. The lines, 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. Those are the numbers to call if you want to be a part of the show. If you want to talk about what I'm talking about, or for that matter, if you want to talk about what you want to talk about, at the end of the day, this is your show, and we're here to listen to you and to engage in, hopefully, some dialogue which enriches all of us. Let's go to the phones. The numbers are lighting up. Good evening. You're on the mark.
Good evening, Miss Sheriff.
Good evening to you.
Good evening, Miss Premier. Lord, send help. Psalm 91, verse 2 and 3. I will of the Lord. He is my refuge and my fortress. Say, Lord, in him will I trust. Surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the faller and from us, and not we ourselves. Sympathy is going out to Rebecca and her mother over there in Zion on the passing of their son, Stuart James Davis. Good night to my cousin and my nephew over there in Canada. Mark, enough people meet me and I tell me how you sell out the airport. I tell them $10 per Mark. If I listen, good, I would know. I would never be an infidel person. Good night.
All right. Well, I'm happy you correct them for me. All right? Because clearly people must, get information that is good information. And then we can debate. Right? That is necessary. So I certainly look forward to that continued debate and discussion. But I think that our people have an obligation to themselves, not to just listen to all the roro, because they're mischief makers out there, but to get the facts for themselves. And to let us have sensible debate. If, for example, there are people out there who feel like, well, listen, there's another option. There may be some who feel we should shut down the airport. There may be some who may feel we should sell it. There may be some who may feel that we should go and borrow the $90 million and forego the hospital and forego the roads and forego the water project and do it ourselves. This is the nature of things. But that is what governance is all about. Governance is making decisions, difficult decisions sometimes. But I hope through the numbers that I've provided, you realize that the Vance Armour International Airport has been in a rapid free fall from the NRP took power in 2006, and it continues to be in free fall. We were able to stem the flow. It's like you're bleeding and you do what you call a tourniquet to stem the flow, but it continues to hemorrhage. And so, what are we to do? Difficult decisions.
Radio and social media, but it doesn't waste of time. But I am amazed by the amount of money, $20 million plus for those years. But that's no progress whatsoever, beloved. No progress whatsoever. And a cousin of mine, he called me last night. Your boy, quote unquote, your boy Mark Bradley sell out the airport. I said, man, come on, stop your stupidness, listen. I said, I don't know what I'm leave personally, but I had a brother for years now, and he wouldn't do anything like that. So I said, all right, no problem. Let me wait until my beloved brother come on tonight. I want to hear what he's going to say. And if he's going to, ask the question, what went down and so. And I don't like to hear, these people who say so much propaganda about it, that if you ain't careful, man, they will go with your mind. But you got to be strong. Now, beloved brother, Venezuela.
Yes.
I hope we stand, not just the Federation, St. Kitts Nevis, stand in Venezuela, but then the entire members in CARICOM, and those who are not members of CARICOM too, because brother, Venezuela being great to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, and even to the Caribbean, a lot. So we must try to avoid a bloodbath there, no civil war, no aggression from United States, and no military intervention whatsoever, brother, because we don't want this kind of thing, near to the Caribbean or wheresoever. beloved brother. So we must do that, beloved. But I'd like to ask you a question because I know it's almost election time, you know, but I am not seeing. I asked Brother Patches about it. All that legislation concerning the residency requirement and this, and I hear my former teacher in high school, history teacher, Teacher Byron, the AG, be saying that gonna bring this legislation, you know, electoral reform legislation to Parliament, and they've been a long time, beloved brother. So I'm asking you, do you have any information that is, I mean, like that the public, that you could tell the public in, you know, in moving forward, but election time is almost here, in the beloved brother. You know, it's next year, something next year. But, beloved brother, that's all I'm saying. And I want to know what's going on with those electoral reforms.
All right. Well, as you know, some legislation was proposed. It has not gone any further than that. Last I gathered is that...
I know that.
Right,
yeah,
so,
that's what I'm speaking about, beloved.
All right. So the last I gathered is that, of course, the various interested parties will have to discuss the matter and to see what is the best approach. So that, I think you should see some movement one way or the other on that matter in the coming weeks and months. But that will largely be a matter for the Attorney General. He's the man who's charged with electoral reform, and we will be looking very carefully to see what's the best approach that we can take for the benefit of the people. So that is as much as I could tell you. I don't have any updates because there's been nothing recent in relation to that matter, but I'm pretty sure that there'll be something to be said about it in the coming weeks and months.
Well, I hope that come, you know, by April, no later than April, brother, because you've been waiting for some time, you know.
All right.
Sometime you've been waiting.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Brother. Thanks again for the time here with me, and continue doing the great work, my beloved brother. You're one of my... you're my number 2 minister.
Okay. All right, brother.
Patches is number 1.
All right.
The Prime Minister is number 3. And others follow.
All right.
Beloved brother, continue doing the great work. Don't be, you know, I know you're a strong man. Don't be disheartened by these distractors, man. They will say anything. You see, when you do great things, beloved brother, and people was there and they had a chance to do it and they didn't get the job done, and you come and do the job in a short time, you know, there is a lot of envy and jealousy and all kind of different things, beloved brother. So, brother, you just keep your head up. And again, let me say, when Dr. Harris is done his second term, brother, you're next in line when it comes to Brother Namus to be the Prime Minister of St. Kitts Nevis. Beloved brother, thanks again. Take care. Pan-Africanism will perish one now, beloved brother.
Okay, thank you very much for your call as usual. It is 9 o'clock. We're taking your calls on 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. Good evening, you're on the mark. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Brantley.
Yes, good evening to you.
Am I correct in assuming that...
Caller, you have a radio or something on? I'm getting a little bit of a feedback. Hello? 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 Okay, we've lost that caller. Let's try someone else. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Yes, good evening, Andy Man.
Good evening to you. How are you?
You had a good weekend when you went travel, and I hope he enjoyed Valentine, and you and Vance and what's his name again, boy?
Troy, your favorite Troy. Your favorite Troy.
Mr. Man,
yes.
I want some pasta. So somebody tell me you were making home.
Some pasta?
Pasta. So you were making to me. Send some on the boat.
All right, I got to sort you out.
Have a good evening to
Okay, God bless you.
Show.
Okay, thank you. Let's stick with the phones. It is about 2 minutes or so after 9. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Yes, Mr. Brantley.
Yes, now I can hear you.
Better?
Yes,
yeah.
Perfect.
Okay. Is it correct to say that the arrangement is akin to a fixed-base operation, like what at RLB?
You said fixed-base operation. I'm not sure I know what you mean.
Like the what it was before, the YU Lounge. I think it's Cayenne Air.
Oh, Cayenne Jet?
your Kyan Jet?
Well, I suppose it's similar, but not quite the same, but similar.
But there will be two terminals essentially.
That is what this provides for a second terminal to be done at the expense of these folks. But the difference is that, of course, we do not have an international strip. We don't have a runway that can accommodate international flights. So they've committed also for the financing and the construction design of that.
Oh, okay.
Okay? So that's a step beyond what Kyan Jet has done in St. Kitts.
Okay, yes.
Okay.
I suppose you may have seen my post on Facebook expressing some reservations, not with the redevelopment plan, but with the lack of consultation and any bidding process, right? I found, I think someone posted something asking about that, and I found your response a bit unacceptable.
Well, I would be surprised if you find it acceptable. But go ahead.
No, but simply because your government was approached, that's not a reason not to involve the public, right? It's a national asset, just like land, and as you yourself said, Nivision should be rightly proud of it, okay, and therefore treat it as such, handle it with care, right? And I presume you were one who objected to things like the land for debt swap for reasons of lack of consultation.
No. I didn't have any issue about lack of consultation.
Oh, you didn't have any issue
with that? The concern on the land for debt was that
you then, but some people,
we thought it was a bad approach.
Right, some people did.
So your point is consultation. You thought that there should have been consultation.
Yeah,
okay.
And because, you know, you're saying now that you were elected to lead, right? I mean, it's interesting that you use that argument because the same argument could have been used when other tough decisions had to be taken. But instead, I mean, of course, as expected, I guess, the opposition would make hair out of it.
Well, so
right?
I mean,
it's a different scale, yes, but the principle is the same.
But I mean, but I have been elected to lead, and the reality is that, as I've made clear tonight from the numbers that I've expressed to the public, we have had a very, very difficult situation at the Van Summer International Airport, and it has gotten progressively worse.
So you had to do something.
So clearly, so we are making a good faith effort to do something and to build into the agreement the necessary safeguards for the people of Nevis. And yes, okay, if you say we should come and have town hall meetings and ask people what we should do, fine. I take your. Well, all right. That's
the face of Nevis.
Okay, I understand what you're saying, but the face of Nevis, as you call it, has been in desperate decline now since 2006, and we are the first government that is saying, let us confront this and let us do so in a very direct way. And we have sat down, negotiated, discussed, tweaked, and done what we could to ensure that we have a partner that we are saying to them, fine, you say that you have come, you say you can deliver, okay, deliver, and here are the timelines for you to deliver. So that is what we're seeking to do.
Well, I think though that because of the principles involved and the apparent conflict of a political figure being...
But why is there conflict? I'm yet to understand the conflict.
I think people mention things. I'm telling you what they're saying.
Yes, tell me what they're saying.
About managing director and still legal counsel.
Caller. And we've had that situation here before, right?
Yeah, but is it normal? So you consider it normal?
But it is entirely normal. And if that person was Charles Wilkin or Henry Brown or something, nobody would say anything about conflict.
Yeah, but they're not running. They're not a candidate. Right?
Yes, but what does a candidate have to do with a lawyer trying to make a living? Those lawyers for the NRP who go on and radio making noise, they're candidates too.
Yeah, you know our situation here, you know.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but you as someone who seeks, as you say, to have discourse at a higher level, you should not buy into it. You should be correcting people from that.
Yes, but what I'm saying is you should not. You also should not create opportunities for people to raise eyebrows.
But people raise eyebrows. The people say the airport has been sold. In the people will call up people. Right? All of people will make up their own story. That is the nature of that is part of our culture.
Yeah,
so I'm not even going to fight that.
They're superlatives, right? But that we can ignore. I also saw your post on Facebook.
About what?
That was very dismissive of the opposition who was discussing the issue on a radio station.
Well, what else you will do with these who are passing as opposition?
But why call
other
them
than be
field
dismissive?
blind mice? You know, I don't understand.
Caller.
Look at it.
Caller, do not say what I did not say. Okay?
Didn't you post
Uh-huh.
something about, it reminded you of
No, I never said that.
Have you nursery rhyme?
I never said that.
Didn't you make a reference to the nursery rhyme?
I made a reference. I said this song has been playing in my head all day.
Okay.
If you decide that the gentlemen are street blind mice, it's a matter for you. But I never said that.
Yeah.
So do not put words into my mouth.
But my point is, right,
Yes.
I don't know why government has a problem with involving the opposition in matters as important as this. You know, it's adversarial politics, I know, but the opposition, well, they consist of divisions too. They're going to be using the facility. So why berate them, you know, because they ask questions that you should have been informing them on anyway. And my final concern,
Yes, go
right?
ahead. Mm-hmm.
Did the NIA seek professional advice on the model that is being proposed? Because I don't think any of your politicians have the expertise to assess and analyze the feasibility of a project like this, right? I don't have the expertise either, but common sense and my observation of neighboring islands doesn't suggest that what is proposed is feasible. The fact is we have an international airport less than 10 miles away. Even places like St. Martin with high volume traffic have 2 airports and one on the French side and one on the Dutch, and only one is developed as an international airport with capacity to service jets.
So your suggestion is that Nevis not develop an international airport?
No.
That's what
I'm
you're
just pointing out. I'm just pointing out that you have.
You're pointing out the example of St. Martin to say what?
Anguilla and Tortola and Barbuda. St. Lucia have 2 as well, right? I'm saying that I don't see that model operating. Now, you know, it may be that it works, but it may also be that you are embarking on really what might be just adding to a white elephant, just making the white elephant.
Okay, well, I hear you, but...
do you feel confident?
Caller, I hear
I
you.
guess that's the question.
Caller,
do you feel confident?
Caller, I would not seek to embark on any journey that I do not feel confident about.
Okay.
That does not mean that what we're seeking to do will be achieved, but I am comfortable and comforted in the fact that we are seeking to do something. The reality is that this problem, and that's why I use the statistics to show, that this problem dates back to 2006. And nobody, no government has ever sought to confront it as we have. And I know that there will be detractors and people who are willing to say all manner of evil, and that is okay. But at least give us the credit for recognizing the problem and seeking to address it.
Well, everybody saw the problem is. The problem is, and it's again a chicken and egg situation. Which comes first? They have a big airport or a larger hotel plant and the traffic. Okay?
Suspicion
people may have.
Caller, you had RLB before you had Marriott. And I never hear anybody say that you shouldn't have RLB.
Boy, you remember when we only had one international flight?
Well, that is but the point is that you invested in order to now enjoy all that you're enjoying.
Right.
With 2,000 and 3,000 passengers a day on a Saturday. So I don't want you to have a different standard for Nevis.
No. Okay.
Good, because I'm hearing echoes of that in what you're telling me.
No, and I am hearing echoes of, I know we're going to be competing with RLB, but so what, right? Maybe Mr. Brantley, right? You realize that a bridge between St. Kitts and Nevis would have solved that problem?
Well, caller, I mean, there are lots of things that could solve the problem. I mean, we could have an island emerge in the middle of the Narrows, like one emerged, I'm told, in the South Pacific recently.
Right.
And join us together. There are lots of things.
Or you could have a man-made one.
There could be a man-made one. There could be a number of things. But we are dealing with what we have
and
now.
You think this is the best approach?
And what we have now is we have to take a decision in Nevis. Either we seek to do something different or we shutter the airport.
Okay.
Because the current hemorrhaging at NASPA and from the government. It cannot be maintained. I tell you, we have gone from 79,000 passengers in 2006 to 14,000 something today.
Economics, Mr. Brandt, economics.
Well, it's not just economics.
I know
because more divisions.
I know there's a national identity to think of.
More divisions are flying.
Sometimes economics trump politics.
More divisions are flying today than ever before.
Okay.
So it's not just economics. Because if those divisions were flying out of Vance Amri, I wouldn't be having this conversation.
Again, that's the other suspicion about it's at the expense of RLB. But
wouldn't you say now RLB is developed at the expense of Vance Amri? I'm not quite understanding your argument, caller.
Why would you say that?
But I mean, why would I say that? Because that is what the evidence is. I use my own post.
Always had more traffic than.
No, caller, you clearly weren't listening. I said you had the development of the water taxi operator, which now can whisk people back and forth quickly.
Right.
You have the more flights coming into St. Kitts, and the change in the appetite of passengers who now say they prefer the bigger jets. That is in part contributing to why we have moved from 70,000, nearly 80,000 passengers down to where we are now. So the RLB has benefited from those changes to the detriment of Vance Amri.
To the detriment of Vance Amri.
Of course, and those are the facts. I'm not saying that I have something against RLB. I'm simply saying that those are the facts. So if it is that you're suggesting that Nivisions, for example, traveling out of Vance Amri will be to the detriment of RLB. Well, Nivisions traveling out of RLB is to the detriment of Vance Amri, and Kittitians traveling out of RLB is to the detriment of Vance Amri.
I think there was a better model. Maybe if you had taken time, the NIA had taken time to discuss things with the federal government too, some kind of arrangement could have been for.
Okay.
Listen, I've traveled.
Caller, you have to make it quick because the phones are ringing and you've been on for a while. So,
okay.
Last point, quickly, please.
No, I was just going to point out that I've gone to Nevis to catch planes to go to places as well.
Yes.
I mean, I'm sure there's a happy medium in terms of flights and airlines and airlift and that sort of thing that could have been had.
All right. Well, right? Could have, would have, should have. The bottom line is we're hemorrhaging money. We need to do something. Thanks for your call. Let's go to the next caller. It is 1:15 the hour. Good evening. You're on the mark.
Good evening.
Good evening to you.
Doesn't Courts and TDC sell the same bed and fridge and compete with each other?
Well, I don't know. You must ask the caller.
Nobody irritate me more than that, man. Sometimes I wonder. Have a good night.
Thank you very much. Don't let him irritate you. He calls. He has his point. What you need to do is call and make your point as well. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening. You're on the mark.
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening. Could you raise your voice, please?
Good evening.
Yes. Now I can hear you.
I was listening to your calculation about the tourists coming in on the airport, right? But
not tourists, traffic. I don't know who's coming, just the number of passengers.
Right.
Yeah.
But you have to say one, say two. When they stop off in St. Kitts, right? They catch the boat and they come over to Nevis. So there really a lot of traffic coming in.
Yeah, but I agree with your caller. That's what we are saying. That people are opting to use the ferry and then the taxi and then the plane, instead of just having the family drop them off at Vance Amri.
Right.
So that is what has developed, and so we acknowledge that. Absolutely, you're correct.
Okay.
Okay?
I'm calling from Always Station, though.
Oh, well, how are things in Statia?
Fine, thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Say hello to all the divisions down there for me.
Yes.
And Kittitians.
Right up there.
Okay, thank you.
Hello.
All right, let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello?
Good night to our name, Mark. Good night.
Yes, you're on the mark. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mark, it is sad to hear the situation with the Navy airport, that no flight coming to us how you all want them to come to, because the people, when the Navy people come down to St. Kitts and take their flight down here, and everything people put politics into, and that's the name of the game, and you're the premier, got to keep it up and keep a standard. I listened to your opening remarks, and you were so right that if the people have got to get involved, if the people don't get involved and do what they got to do, no business going to do. And I'm so agree with you. You understand? So, Mark, you understand, some people are always coming around and always talking about involved opposition. Mark, opposition always involved in things. Opposition elect in government. I mean in parliament, just like you as the premier of Nevis right now. You know, but the opposition always there. From since I was a slave boy coming up into my politics, I never see the opposition like involved in doing nothing because the opposition always keep out. In the 70s, back when I was a small boy, the opposition keep out. Even when the opposition were a seat down here 1979, that the opposition keep out. You know? So the opposition always keep out. And the opposition keep out just a while ago when they had 6 more than 5. And you know, it was a big song and dance. And you never hear people like the call in and say nothing. And look the situation, how you are end up. You are going to go to the Privy Council to get justice. So you see, Mark, they will always come with a shenanigans and say all manner of things because they beat against this unity government. But I know that you all is on the track and on the road, keeping the people up to date with whatever going on. And I like your opening statement again, because you're going to come with the truth, and only the truth could put you there. Mark, you have a wonderful night. God bless.
Okay, my brother. Thank you for the call. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening. You're on the mark.
Yeah, good evening, Mark.
Good evening to you.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you had any statistics for, like, from 2004. You kind of mentioned from, like, 2006 onwards?
No, I mentioned 2006 because that's when the NRP took control, and that's why I asked for those. I don't have statistics from before.
Okay, it would have been nice to compare those just before and then after they take control, just to see what would happen, right? But
I don't have those, so I can't help you.
Okay. The other thing I wanted to mention, you talked about the profitability of the airport, and I was wondering if the development and maybe wastage of money during the airport development might have contributed to that. And
wasted the money during the airport development, I'm not sure. What are you talking about?
The development of the Van Zamre Airport, the terminal building that was built and the runway.
Well, I've never heard that there was any wastage of money over there.
Okay, so everything went fine and all the money could be accounted for properly without any problem.
Well, as far as I know, if you have something to the contrary, then please enlighten us, because I've never heard that.
Well, I don't. I'm just suggesting that.
So you're just talking for the sake of talking. You don't have anything to the contrary. Okay, caller. All right.
But the other thing, you also talked about the increase of traffic, right? In terms of airlift, in terms of the airlift increase, because you made a special effort to do that. And I'm wondering if the increase of the airlift, if it justified the increase of traffic when we were paying for empty seats and stuff like that, if that made much sense. The other thing I would just comment
on. So, caller, before you go comment on your other thing, what would be your suggestion then? That we allow Seabourn and Tradewind them to discontinue their service?
I'm not making any suggestions.
So what are you saying? We're trying to find solutions.
Just because I think
but we're trying to find
all of these factors.
But caller, hold on a minute. You've called into the station. We're trying to find solutions. You're saying that perhaps paying for empty seats under the minimum revenue guarantee is unwise. I'm paraphrasing.
That's possible, but I do not have the statistics in front of me, so I'm not gonna say that is what it is.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. That's something that I'm saying that you should look at.
What is your
figures?
What is your final point then?
Okay, final point is that I think a big factor in people going to St. Kitts to take the airplane from St. Kitts is cost. And I know a number of passengers, when they're traveling, basically they book their flights because of cost. They try to take the cheapest flight. So even though you would have to pay the 50 EC and maybe a taxi or have somebody pick you up from the pier in Bass there, it's actually a lower cost for you, the passenger, flying out of St. Kitts. So I think if it's possible, if there's any way that you guys could negotiate with the airlines or whatever to make the cost more affordable to fly out of Vance W. Amory, it would make a significant difference.
Caller, what if I told you that was untrue? What would you say?
Well, when I was basically, to get into Miami, I paid like $400 and something out of St. Kitts.
$400 and something out of which St. Kitts?
Out of St. Kitts, I could show you my. I could show you my receipt.
Well, you got a special of all specials, because Miami fares out of St. Kitts average anywhere from $700 to $800.
Well, the last time I flew, flew for $450.
Well,
it was American easy, and I couldn't find that kind of flight from Nevis. But I'm saying cost is like a major factor.
Well,
okay,
all right.
That's all I'm saying.
Good. Well, I hear you, caller. I myself would love to get a flight out of St. Kitts for $450 as you did, because I know, for example, that we've had a recent analysis done, and American fares to St. Kitts were the highest in the region. American fares from Miami to St. Kitts were the highest in the region.
Well, Mark, I don't book the business seats, I take the cheap seats.
Well, I would love to get a cheap seat like you.
The plane where you get squeezed up.
Well, I would love to get a squeeze up like you.
Okay.
All right? And I would wager that not away you fly out of St. Kitts for any $450. But this is radio. So you can say what you like. Okay?
All right. Thanks.
Thank you very much. 25 minutes past the hour of 9 o'clock. And this is what I love about radio. People call in, they can say anything. Right? $450 out of St. Kitts, that I have never heard that. But if somebody out there is getting that kind of fear, then obviously I need to adjust my travel agent, because I don't know, and people complain all the time. In fact, we have had an ongoing, and that is why recently Minister Grant went and negotiated with American that they would reduce fares by 30%, because the fares have been the highest in the region. No ifs, ands, buts, or maybes about that. So all this chatter about saving, there's really, people, if they took the time and look at the options. Out of Puerto Rico, you have Gateway, you have direct flights to 23 U.S. cities the last time I checked. You have numerous airlines, Southwest, United, American, U.S. Airways. You have couple of those other Spirit and some of those budget carriers. You have flights that take you to Fort Lauderdale. You have flights that take you to Orlando, Newark, New Jersey, and different parts like that. And you pick up some wonderful fares. I'll tell you, I have an example. $129, I think it was, from Puerto Rico to Miami. Right? So there are the options there. And I sometimes do not believe that people actually check. People want to go and they say, fine, the flight, when is it Miami flight or the St. Kitts, and they go. And there's nothing wrong with that either. I'm simply saying, caller, that I don't agree with you that it is necessarily cheaper. But let us continue to have the discussion, because that is important. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello?
Good evening, sir.
You're on the mark, go ahead.
Yes, sir. I listened to your explanation.
Yes.
And I understand everything you're saying. I hope it pays off. The only thing I think about is these people, when they come in and when they done what they have to do, they might be hiring their own, bringing in own employees from abroad. That is something I'm worried about.
Well, we have safeguarded our workers, caller, so there's not a worry.
All right.
But the staff out there has been safeguarded. We've thought about all of that.
Yeah, I want to explain something about Venezuela for a little while.
Yeah.
I don't understand what's going on. The world is getting crazier, crazy. A man just got up and declared that he's president of Venezuela, and you have America and other countries joining him. And this is treasonous. Spain would join with America to recognize this guy. Right now have Catalonian politicians in court for declaring independence. And this is a man who have done the same thing in Venezuela, and he sided with him. So I don't understand what's going on in this crazy, crazy world. Thank you, sir.
All right. Well, we will continue to monitor and continue to ask the hard questions. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Hello, Mr. Mark Bradley. Good evening again.
Hello, good evening to you.
Well, while you're on the radio, do you know there's another murder in St. Kitts tonight as we speak?
I wasn't aware, sir.
Okay,
I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry to hear that.
Well, you see, there's a lot of things going on in this country, Mr. Mark Bradley. And it's interesting to listen to you guys. You guys tour the world. So you guys dialoguing. You guys doing so many things. Where's the dialogue at home, Mr. Mark Bradley?
Well, what are you doing now?
Hold on, I'm not dialoguing.
What are you doing then?
I'm speaking to you generally. Don't try to cross it, please.
So you
Can I speak, Mr. Mark Bradley?
So if you what is a dialogue? A dialogue is a conversation?
This is not a dialogue.
It's not?
You're going to sit down and speak with people concerning whatever, not over the radio. Because when my ID was pulled with immediate effect, up to now, I did not have a dialogue. But you guys went to Venezuela to dialogue about Venezuela.
Okay.
Mr. Mark Bradley.
All right.
Okay?
Good. You got anything else
This is
to
not a dialogue.
have anything else to add? Go ahead.
I have a lot to add.
Yes.
Now I'm saying, Mr. Mark Bradley, listen to your rants in the radio
quickly
concerning the airport. Mr. Mark Bradley, people don't forget. Your politicians need to be very, very careful when you are say things and what you do because it's a backfire. You remember something to do with the pier to build in St. Kitts? Do you remember that a company was going to do the pier, the cruise company? Do you remember that?
Caller, I have no idea what you're talking about.
You have no idea that a cruise company was going to do the pier.
I can't help you, but I don't know what you're talking about.
A cruise company was supposed to do the pier in St. Kitts. And it was a big song and dance.
Mm-hmm.
Now, cruise company should be in the pier, and wherever the pier can cost must be 90-something million. I mean, to understand. You guys get in power. You decide to do the pier.
Yes.
You reach up to 100 and something million. That it's okay. But it was wrong for the cruise company to do the pier. I'm just putting things together.
So what's the point you're making, caller? Get to it, please.
Man, let me speak now, please. If you
well,
don't
get to the point. You're on primetime radio. I don't have the time to allow you to rattle on. You said this is not a dialogue, so make your point. Okay?
Disrespecting people.
What is the point that you're seeking to make? Okay, all right. Thank you very much. It's 9:30 o'clock. If you're going to call in on this radio station, I don't know what kind of mama guy, little fool show you're accustomed to. This is a serious show where we discuss serious issues. If you're going to call, you say you don't want a dialogue, so that means you're going to engage in a monologue. I hope you're following me. Monologue, you alone. Dialogue, you and me. You say you don't want a dialogue, so you're in a monologue. Well, if you're engaged in a monologue, get to your point quickly, because that means you don't want no conversation with me. Right? Don't call me no tomfoolery business on the mark. It's an important show, big show, for big people with big ideas, and we discuss important things here. I don't mean to chastise you like this, but if you're going to call and talk about peer, well, make the point and let me know what point you're making. I don't want to go back with you to when Noah built the ark and when Columbus come. So let us get serious about what we're doing. And if you want to write down something on a piece of paper and then call in and read off the paper, well, call in, have your monologue and get off the line so that we can continue the debate and a dialogue with those who wish to do so. Let's go back to the phones. It is 31 minutes past the hour of 9 o'clock. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Yes, good night.
Yes, good night.
The reason why the population goes to St. Kitts is because the immigration, the customs service, their attitude as stinks and Nevis Airport.
So you think that...
I have family member that comes in, they are division, but they have a broad passport or whatever, and they come here. They come here all the time. And the attitude of the immigration and the customs service are very terrible. They need customer service. You're talking to people. We are grown people. You got to know how to speak to people.
So
they're not criminals. They are Nevisions are coming home to Nevis. Anyway, have a good night.
So I'm just, before you go, so you're saying that's part, okay, you've gone. Just want to check that you feel that the customer service advance time. We're listening. If that's part of the problem, it's something that has to be looked at. So thanks for that. We continue to take the calls. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Yeah, Mark, it's a very good decision to privatize the airport. You as Premier, you have to lead from the front.
I haven't privatized the airport, so let me get the language correct.
Well, no,
right?
No.
We've come to an arrangement.
Whether lease or privatized.
Well, all right. I just want the language to be correct, okay? Privatized means the airport has been sold to a private entity.
To lease the airport. To lease the airport so that we can have some revenue comes in. Because can you remember a few years ago when the sugar industry was losing money, when Douglas went and whether sold it out, privatize it, so that the people of the country can be at ease with and not burdened with a lot of debt. So it's a good decision. And to have the airport there and losing all the time, it's good. It's good decision to release it. And Mark, I would just like to invite everyone up to high time on Sunday for the opening of the VPA League with opening ceremony along with a match with the Kings 11 versus the Jabba's team, and thank all of those persons who came forward to sponsor the VPA League. And Sunday matchup will be the first man of the match will be sponsored by Dovel Jew. Dovel Jew, he does shipping and haulage and so on. So thank everybody for the support they have given to us at hard times in our VPA League for the past 6 years.
All right.
So Mark, you just have to do. You as Premier, you have to lead from the front, and you have to make sure that the country is not burdened with debt, and make sure that we have something coming in so that the people of Nevis can be at ease.
Okay. All right. Let's take some more calls. Good evening. You're on the mark.
Hello. Good night.
You're close to the radio. Could you turn it down? We're getting some feedback.
Okay. Hold on.
Please.
Okay.
Yes?
I'm calling to say, right, Nevis people have better service than Kitishans. I travel all the time, right? And nobody rougher than St. people. But you know why I think Nevisians go over to St. to travel? I've been traveling, and when I go over to St. Kitts, whenever you're coming, from the minute they see that you're from Nevis, they don't even search your bag. They send you straight through. If you're from St. Kitts, you're being searched. And that is why Nevisians go over to St. Kitts, because every time they come back, when they're coming back from wherever they're coming from, they let you go straight. They don't even look into your bag. And I think that is the reason why they want to St. Kitts.
But in Nevis, the customs would search your bag.
Right. And I think that is it.
Okay.
And it's nothing about service, because nobody ruder than Kitishans.
Okay. All right. Well, I confess that I have had opportunity to pass through both airports, and I have not had a problem with the service on either end. I think in both St. Kitts and Nevis, we have conscientious and courteous people. I have not had that problem. But, caller, I have heard the comment that you made about the customs, because I've heard that said. Up to recently, I had a conversation with someone who said that they travel through St. Kitts because of that. That wherever they buy, they walk through, because the customs doesn't search them over there. But in Nevis, they say, customs are more likely to search them. We're listening and we're hearing, and we clearly will have to fine-tune as we go. But really and truly, we need to find some solutions for the problem at Vance Ambry. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello? Hello? Okay, that caller isn't there. Callers, please be patient with us when you call. The numbers again are 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. My name is Mark Brantley, and if you're tuned in, you're listening to the Eastern Caribbean's only powerhouse, VON Radio, the voice of Nevis, www.vonradio.com or 860 on your AM dial. We're having a good show tonight. I think that the callers are calling in, they're sharing their views and opinions, and we're hoping to deal and are trying to deal with an important matter, that is of the viability and the future of the Vance Ambry International Airport. I've sought in my soliloquy at the start to dispel some of the myths that I gather have been out there and put out there by people who are seeking to be propagandists and malicious people. The airport has not been sold. There's been no sale of the Vance Ambry International Airport. What we've done is a private public partnership with a company called BNL Worldwide for them to develop a new terminal and new facilities at the airport. The current terminal and facilities that are there will continue to function as they have been functioning, and we are shortly to launch an ad about Fly Local, encouraging people to have another look at Vance Ambry, have another look at using our own airport here in Nevis for the comfort, security, safety, and, of course, convenience and price that it offers. And so that is part of what we're doing, and we're coming to the public and letting you know exactly what is going on. Let's go back to the phones and take some more calls. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Hello, good evening. That caller that called in just a while ago, I don't think that is something nice for she to say. Thank you.
Okay, all right. I take your view, caller. We understand that people have their different views, and as I like to say, it's a show that we try to take all shades of public opinion. I can only speak to my experience, and as I've said, my experience at both airports is that the people are professional, conscientious, and courteous. I've never had a problem in either St. Kitts or Nevis coming through, and I'm not aware that any of my family or people I know have never said to me that they have a problem. They have said, however, about this thing about searching bags, that it appears that in St. Kitts they are probably a little lenient. In Nevis they are more likely to search your bags. I don't know at the end of the day even if that's true, but I'm simply saying that I've heard that before. Let's go back to the phones and continue to take some more calls. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello?
Good evening, Mr. Brantley.
Yes, good evening to you.
Good evening. I'm calling about the airport.
Yes.
Is there going to lengthen the airport so a big plane can land at the airport?
The agreement provides for them, let me just read that the agreement provides, I'm reading from a synopsis that I have in front of me, that they're responsible for designing, constructing, financing, operating, and maintaining a new passenger terminal facility and ultimately developing a new runway.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I'm from Nevis.
Yes.
I'm from Newcastle. And every time I'm coming to Nevis, I'm going to St. Kitts all the time. It's not that I want to go to St. Kitts. I rather land at Newcastle Airport.
Well, have you tried going to Puerto Rico?
You
can go to Puerto Rico?
I don't so much like to go to Puerto Rico. You know, like Puerto Rico.
Okay.
But they're rude down there too. So especially when I'm coming back. So, I mean not so much like Puerto Rico.
Okay.
So I'd rather go to St. Kitts. But it will be nice if Nevis could get an international airport. People can go straight to Nevis, maybe once a week or twice a week, whatever. Because people always ask me, where is Nevis? And when I tell them, oh, you got to go to St. Kitts, or you got to go to Puerto Rico, or you got to go to St. Martin, you know, it's like a little hassle there for them.
Okay. Well, I mean, I understand.
They don't like to go straight.
I understand what you're saying, but listen, the same airport, with the same hassle as you call it, in 2006 you had nearly 80,000 people coming through it.
Yeah.
So, what has changed?
Yeah, but you know, white people like to go straight. You know, when you live in America, they like to just take one plane and go to the destination. From there, go to the hotel. People like that. They don't so much like to touch down and then go somewhere else and got to go again.
Well, I understand, and we'll see that is part of what this company is telling us they can deliver. So we have given them an opportunity, and we'll see. Okay?
Yeah, that would be nice if we could get American jet go straight there from New York, Miami, wherever. That would be nice.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Right. Okay.
Good. Thanks for the call. Let's go back to the phones. We have 20 minutes left. Good evening. You're on the mark. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, you're on the mark. Go ahead.
Yes. I think the point that the gentleman was trying to make is that we should be consistent. There was a private group that was interested in building the cruise ship pier here under the previous government, and the opposition derided that arrangement. And the now government chose to use local funds to do the same thing, okay, and use our local funds. The other company was using their funds, and so we have to absorb the risk. So it's a case of private-public sector partnership, right? And that was the comparison that was being made. Private-public sector partnership is good, okay, and I don't understand why sometimes we like it and sometimes we don't. We don't like it in the case of Christopher Harbour or Kittitian Hill, but we like it in this case.
Okay.
And one other question. Did they give you detailed plans? Because what's going to happen to Hurricane Hill?
The caller, as I said, I tried to explain at the outset. They are to design, go back to my language here again from the agreement, design, finance, construct, operate, and maintain And as part of that design process, the agreement provides that they will provide the suggested designs, which will have to go to public consultation, EIA, and all of the steps.
Okay, because
so we are not at that stage yet.
It would seem that a lot of other players would be involved. I mean, I guess land ownership.
Of course, there's a lot of things, but we're not there yet. But they are and have taken the responsibility to do all of that.
6 months. So that 6 months window that you spoke about.
Yes, that's the financing window.
That is for what?
Financing.
Oh, just the financing.
Yes.
So basically, if you don't complete the financing,
exactly.
That's it.
We have the right.
Okay.
To terminate, and then we have given 2 years for the actual start of construction. So the idea is that during that period of time, the activity should be happening. So those are the safeguards that we built in for the NIA and the people of Nevis.
And they've presented other places that they have a portfolio of stuff that they've done. Have they?
No, they have not. They have not presented a portfolio because this company is a special purpose. But they have presented individuals involved who have been involved in the aviation business.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Okay. Let's go back to the phones. We have about 18 minutes left. Good evening. You're on the mark. Hello. Okay, that caller isn't there. Callers again, 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. Let's try again. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Mr. Brantley?
Yes, good evening.
No opposition could stop Douglas from doing anything if he wanted to do it. So don't worry that guy. And because you talk about dialogue, I guess you don't watch television. God. How many times you and the Prime Minister think it's pleading to people, plead. Maybe he don't have a television. Mr. Vance Emery, you and the Prime Minister, over and over and over, pleading to people, pleading, and having meetings and all that kind of things. Maybe he's not listening. And another thing again, this problem with the airport in Vance. I was going to St. Martin one day, and I seen the former opposition Deputy Prime Minister got on the plane in St. Kitts. So all of them who are supposed to set example are the ones that are causing the problem in Nevis. Okay.
Okay. Thank you. I don't want people to be of a view, because I fly out of St. Kitts on occasions as well. I think all of us do. There are some days that it is just more convenient to do so. It is not a question of trying to pit Nevis against St. Kitts. That's not what I'm seeking to do. But I also feel that having the airport here in Nevis and the facility here in Nevis, that when one can and when it's convenient and available, that people should give us a look. I had a discussion with a hotelier recently, for example, who remonstrated and said that they needed more airlift at Nevis Hotel. Let me make that clear, that they needed more airlift. And I pointed out to him that we had planes leaving Vance Emery empty. So why didn't his hotel try to get their travel agents to put people on those planes? And I am concerned. I just got a message here, from a good friend in the States. And he said something interesting to me, because he said he remembered the days when we had 2 American Eagle flights landing out there. 2 per day. 2 flights per day used to land out there, carrying 48 passengers. They're not much bigger than the 35 passenger what do they call now? Seaborne is flying. Not much bigger. But all of a sudden I hear people say, they like small plane, I fly on a small plane. But just a few years ago, you had 2 American Eagle flights coming out of San Juan to Nevis daily. So there's the opportunity, I think, for us to just readjust, do what we're doing. I hear the talk about the service and all that. These are things that we will have to work on. I hear the talk about customs. Clearly, customs has a dual purpose. 1 is to collect revenue, and 2 is to be part of our border control. And as a result, customs will exercise the right that they have. But we have to all look at this and see how we can work together to fashion a solution. Could it be a solution that St. Kitts becomes the international airport and Nevis the regional airport? For example, that all Liat and Seaborne and those are mandated to come to Nevis while the jets go to St. Kitts? I don't know what the solution is, but what I do know is that as a government, we have been presented with a plan, we have negotiated a plan, we feel that that plan is workable, and we're giving a company an opportunity to execute on that plan. And we feel that if they are able to execute successfully, the Van Samuel International Airport will be transformed, and with that, flying into and out of Nevis will be transformed. And that is what we're here to do. And the option is, because we don't have the money to do it ourselves, is really to continue to hemorrhage. Let me just say it again for those who might have just joined us. That the numbers I got today suggest that in the years from 2006 to 2018, the Van Samuel International Airport has lost a collective amount of $20,749,237. And we have gone from a passenger high of 79,324 in 2006 to 14,839 in 2018. That is what we're dealing with. All right? We're taking your calls. We have about 12 minutes left, and so we're going to take some more calls from you. Let us take this call. Good evening. You're on the mark. Hello?
Hello, good night.
Yes, good evening. You're on the mark.
Okay. Mr. Premier, calling just to give an input. What you're doing, turning over the airport to a company, it's not a bad idea. Reason being, all like we have the Park Hyatt in St. Kitts over there. The hotel is called Park Hyatt, but it doesn't really belong to Park Hyatt, if you understand what I'm saying. It's from another hotel.
The same thing like Four Seasons call it. Park Hyatt is just a management company.
Right.
Yes.
So doing that, it's not a bad idea. It's a great idea, and that's my input.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. And again, it's a response to a very difficult problem, and we're trying to find a solution. Let's go back to the phones. Take some more calls. Good evening, caller. You're on the mark.
Mark, you see some people in this country, right? They don't care about the country. All they just care about that their party gets in government, and they don't care what cars they get in government. No, Mark, we got a situation over the years now with the crime. And suppose some people call in and say that how we could curb the situation we're going on in the Federation right now. Calling in and saying, whoa, like a more than think it right now. And all these kind of things, Mark. Like this thing just start. Mark, let me tell you something. I like how we handle the program, and can't do you. Your program is a real experience and a program not to discuss nonsense. Because nothing there for that. The time we discuss the situation of the country and talking about the airport and everything that the revenue coming out of Nevis and you know, people doing coming down here and catching the plane down here. And you all want to know that if the people want the airport to continue to use, they use the airport, and that is all right. Not coming on and talking about a load of crime down here, sinking, you understand? Like they care. The crime everybody problem. Mark, you have a wonderful night again. Mortling, good night.
Okay, all right, good. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to On the Mark. I'm your host, Mark Brantley. We have about 10 minutes left, so we can certainly take some more calls. The numbers to call 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. Do we have anybody on the line holding? No, not as yet. So if you want to call in and be a part of the show, I have sought this show to be very forthright, to bring the information, bring the facts to you, so that you can have your debate. Some will agree, some will disagree. That is the nature of things in a democracy. But certainly that you will have the information, the accurate information, that you can use for purposes of your discussion. We recognize that in a democracy, not everyone will agree with one's position, but we also recognize that we elect leaders to lead, and leaders must oftentimes confront difficult problems. And I'm satisfied that the cabinet, we labored over this, we looked at this, we had a number of meetings, we have a number of discussions, the legal people looked at it, and then we ultimately decided that we will take this opportunity to provide a solution to the ongoing difficulties that we're having at the Van Samuel International Airport. Whilst we seek to provide a solution, which again, let me remind you, is going to ultimately create a new terminal, that is an additional terminal, an additional runway, and facilities for those going to the United States and elsewhere. Whilst we deal and continue to contemplate how we achieve that and how we accomplish that, working through this private-public partnership that we have sought to fashion, in the meantime, we continue to encourage people who are travelers to consider the Van Summer International Airport. Not just people in Nevis, but people in St. Kitts as well, to consider the ease that it provides of going back and forth. If you're in St. Kitts and you want to get to Tortola, you want to get to St. Thomas, we have a flight leaving every morning that takes you there and takes you there quickly. As a matter of fact, I'm being told you can go to Tortola in the morning and come back in the evening, because that flight comes here, it's based here, that's Air Sunshine. So you have options, and we encourage our people to use those options and breathe some life back into this airport, which is ours. We ought to be proud of it. We're paying for it, and we really ought to use it. Let's go back to the phones, continue to take some calls. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello?
Hello, Mark.
Yes.
What's here, right? If you from Gingerland and you get injured in town, you can't go to the health center and get pension too. I went there, right? And a girl in the blue, a nurse, training nurse, he tell me from Gingerland, go back to Gingerland, to tend to my finger. And the girl, the nurse, the higher nurse and she, in brown, tells she to do it for me. He say he can't do it. So how would that go? Another brown nurse, the girl, the nurse in the brown, have to tend to my finger. A girl, a busted fat girl.
Caller, I don't know. That seems to me to be very strange, that experience you've had, because I don't know that people are turned back from our health center facilities and our medical facilities. We do try to encourage people to use the health center in their community, because we have health centers throughout the island, but I am not aware that anybody would turn you away. So I think that is unusual, and I hope that it's merely an aberration, and that, of course, does not become the normal practice, because I am not aware that we would turn people away who are seeking medical attention in the circumstances. So that is not the case. Let's go back to the phones and take some more calls. Hello, good evening, you're on the mark.
Brantley.
Yes, good evening.
I realize it's been 6 years and the company who registered in Nevis is still paying the tax in St. Kitts, and you haven't done a thing about it up to this day.
How do you know nothing has been done about it? You checked?
Well, you ain't tell anybody anything.
Oh, so that's the reason how you know?
Well, yeah.
Okay, all right, go ahead. What other point you have to make?
And is the politician them in Nevis have taken away Nevision pride? Because you are sit back and let's think it do everything. So Nevision keep going down there because they feel like, well, things is much cheaper. When we go down there, we get more fun. So they keep going down there for everything, because think it's keep advancing, and Nevis staying behind.
So as a politician, you feel that have Nevis people going to St. Kitts?
For everything.
So if you wake up tomorrow, you decide to go St. Kitts, it's me make you go?
No, because you all haven't been doing anything to advance Nevis. So if you really think it keep advancing for everything, you know.
What do you call advancing? Explain to me what you mean.
When you look at that, we dominate in cricket, and we have to go down there to watch cricket. Look at that.
But caller, you say we dominate in cricket. If you got cricket in the park now, you ain't got 10 people in there. I like sometimes when you all call, let us confront things and let's talk facts.
Yeah, but
I go in the park, and if cricket at ETW Park, if the Guyanese don't show up, nobody's in there.
I mean, you haven't gone out the way to even bring international.
I don't understand how you're going to get to international if you can't support what you have already. Yes. You all are calling with this kind of ideas sometimes, and I just don't know where it comes from. Right? I go to ETW. The largest crowd you had in ETW recently is when they did a benefit for black man. God rest his soul. Right? Let us be real. And you all who come at the government, we must go build stadium for cricket. When a match is playing, nobody show up for it. That is the difficulty I have sometimes. The development cannot and should not work that way. And we must talk real to each other and be real with each other. Right? There are lots of things that have to go into whether or not you get an international cricket venue. And you can't just build it so we say because we have test players, we build an international venue, and because we have test players. No. The dance must be able to pay for the lights. The investment, we must have a plan so the investment can pay. We have said we will develop the ETW Park, but we have to be practical about some of these things. Sometimes you all call and you just figure, well, snap your finger, put down a stadium for football, put down a stadium for cricket, put down this, put down that. When you yourself, I'm putting it to you, caller. may not have gone to the park in a year to say you're watching a cricket match. And if they charge you $2 at the gate, you say you're not pay that, because you must go and watch it for free. So let us start. A lot of these problems that we have is our own making. We're not going to support the youth them playing cricket. We're not supporting. The other day I hear a big hullabaloo about bands and which bands supposed to be playing for music fest. And big hullabaloo. But when you ask the bands them, listen, get together and do something up in the cultural village, a brand new cultural village. We give it to you for free. Go ahead up there and have a function. Invite people, your fans, them hear your music. Instead of waiting till only culture hour, do music all year. No, you know, I get that. Then we look at Small Acts and New Vibes and them who producing all the time and partying and having both the bash and all thing all the time. And we say, oh, look at that. We need to start to take responsibility and to think in a sensible way, caller. Now come tell me not more Sinkies have stadium and we don't have stadium. Right? When nobody appears supporting the cricket. Let's go back to the phones. We're going to take this last call. Good evening, caller. You're on the mark.
Yes, good night, Mr. Brandt.
Good night to you.
I wish you all the best in whatever you're doing, eh?
Thank you.
Whenever my children travel, they travel from Nevis, so I don't hear them make any complaints. So
okay.
That's it. Okay.
All right. Well, that's a beautiful note to end the program on. I trust tonight I have shed some light, and perhaps now in the country you can have a discussion with a little less heat and more light. Let us continue to talk to each other, to have a dialogue with each other. That word seems to have been a bad word tonight, but certainly to have a conversation, you and I. You're only talking to yourself, then that doesn't help. You talk, I listen, I talk, you listen, and that way we can teach each other. That's the way it goes, and I hope that we're doing our little bit here for the preservation of our democracy and the advancement of freedom of speech in our country. The airport saga, I hope everybody now has the information, not the rhetoric, not the supposition, not the nonsense, but the facts. And with the facts, you can now debate and say whether you agree or disagree, but at least you know this is what the government is seeking to do to move Nevis forward and onward. That's our show for tonight. Good night. God bless you. This show is rebroadcast tomorrow at 1 p.m. right here on VON Radio, the voice of Nevis, the Eastern Caribbean's only powerhouse.